So we have a very special tradition every year where the beginners write their own story for Big Gig.
And then they write their own song that goes with the story, and it usually ends up being like seriously some of the best stuff we've ever heard.
And we'll probably be getting emails from Sondheim this year after this year's, because it's called Switcharoo, and it features our special guest, Carly Johnson, and it's narrated by us.
Here we go. Once upon a time, there was a famous singer named Carly Johnson. She was a very kind, happy, and loving person. Carly loved to sing a lot, and she was very excited because she had a new jazz album coming out.
Kent went out of town and he needed somebody to take Dan Quayle for a walk. Kent called Carly for the job.
I'm going out of town. Can you take care of Dan Quayle for me?
Carly said,
"Of course. I love dogs, but I like cats more."
Carly showed up to Kent's house wearing her favorite purple hat and hot pink jacket, and she and Dan Quayle left Kent's house for a walk.
Walking to the Leopard rehearsal space. After their long walk, Carly decided that she needed a snack, so she searched all around.
She hoped to find a burrito in the freezer, but all she found was a box of what she thought were Scooby snacks. She was reading the label and realized there was tons of protein in it.
Yeah, protein.
Dan Quayle then walked up to Carly wanting a snack as well, but Carly was so hungry that she failed to read the warning on the front of the box. Warning, magic dog treats, do not eat if human.
Carly took 2 treats out of the box and was so excited when she realized they smelled like burritos. She ate one and tossed the other to Dan Quayle. She then immediately started to feel woozy, and then started to feel hot, like there was fur all over her.
Carly went outside to try to cool off, and she called for Dan Quayle to go with her. When she called for Dan Quayle, all that came out was a bark. At first, Carly thought that it was so cool she could bark. After a few moments passed, though, she remembered about her new album coming out, and all she could do was bark, so she began to frantically panic.
Dan Quayle walked outside and asked if she was okay, in what sounded like her own voice. Carly froze in shock when she realized their voices had switched. At that exact moment, she got a text from her manager reminding her of her album.
When she texted her manager back, the only words that she could type were bark, bark, bark. Carly's manager was so worried that he called her right away. Carly answered the phone, but all she could do was bark. Her manager thought that she was being goofy and told her if she can't stop all this barking, they're going to have to cancel her album. Then he hung up.
Carly begins to panic even more. Carly asked Dan Quayle to call her manager back and convince him that everything is all right and not to cancel the album. Carly dialed the phone for Dan Quayle, and they got on her manager on the phone.
Dan Quayle apologized to Carly's manager for barking, saying it was just a prank. Everything is fine and we should still do the album. Her manager then tells Carly that she only has until 11 p.m. to finish her album. Dan Quayle growls under Carly's breath and says, 11 is my least favorite number.
Carly walked back into the rehearsal space with Dan Quayle and tried to Google ways to fix her problem, but all she can type is bark.
She clicked the microphone button on her phone, and Dan Quayle spoke into it to dictate what she wanted to type. She learned that she could create a very simple potion that can reverse her voice. What a relief.
Carly and Dan Quayle started to look around for all the ingredients. Water, dog hair, crunched up drumsticks, string from a bass guitar, and an egg shaker. She drank the potion, then sat down at the piano to distract her mind while she waited to see if the potion worked. Carly began to sing along to her piano playing, and she's shocked to hear her beautiful voice is back.
Unfortunately, Dan Quayle still has her voice. She started thinking of ways that she could help Dan Quayle get his bark back. She picked up the magical treat box and threw a treat to him. It worked! Dan Quayle has his bark back! Roof, roof.
Carly got a whiff of the dog treats and remembered how delicious they were, just like burritos. Carly holds up a treat in her mouth and says, "Should I?"
Okay.